Wake up! You're asleep at the wheel. I'm Josh Wheel, and Feliz Viernes Negro. Uh, Juma Aswado Mubarak. Happy Black Friday. I am here from the children's bedroom studio, which looks like it requires some FEMA relief after my boys have been home from school all week for Thanksgiving. And I am here with everyone's favorite grandpa's son, Nathan Christopher Day Spring Summers, the Ascani son, or the cable that links the past to the future, our man Cable. So that way I can talk to you about what the hell? Cable, Volume 3 of the most recent series, which is entitled Past Fears. And this is something that I've never been a big Cable book guy. I picked up some issues here or there. I've liked a couple. I've just kind of like read for like historical accuracy's sake a few more like over the years. Just Cable was never my guy. Then recently I went back and I said, you know what? I need to do this right. And I went all the way back and I started with X Factor Endgame, where Rachel takes little baby Cable into the future to protect him and help him survive the transmode virus. And, Cyclops has to sacrifice his son to keep him from becoming like the next apocalypse. So back to that beginning. And I followed it up with this essential work, The Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix by professional comic book writer Scott Lobdell, which has the ridiculous premise of after X-Men 30 and Cyclops and Jean Grey's honeymoon, they just get taken out of their bodies by old lady Rachel in the million years and 1,000 years in the future, and brought and put into the bodies of these other people, and given custody of the little baby Cable. And then they raise him over like the next 16 years. So they spend like 16 years of like their soul time raising their son. And they get to be the parents that, like, they get that back. He gets to be raised by his parents. They get to be the parents. They call themselves Slim and Red because they don't want him to know that they're really his parents. And they pretend to not really be his parents, even though they are his parents. It's just like there's some things that don't make sense, but there's beautiful family, like Scott gets to raise his boy. And this is a huge, huge thing in his life throughout all of like the emotional turmoil he goes through later runs, is that at least he always gets to lean back on, at least he had this time. And somehow they didn't drown in the beach where they were taken from. I don't know. They get back into their bodies because like they pass out and their bodies are without a soul and mind or something, and then they like get back in them before they drown in the water or some shit like that. So like no time is lost in the 616 timeline, but they spend 16 years there, and it's great. It's actually followed up by another miniseries by Scott Lobdell that takes like teenage to young adult Cable and has him like further battling and defeating Strife, like young teenage angry Strife, and meeting his future wife and like getting set up as the Ascani son, and it's called Ascani son. And these are like your, if you start there and then say, okay, this is my kind of core foundation for who, like, old man taking weird seductive baths with Copycat pretending to be Domino in X4. Like, if you take this as your base and not that, not Executioner's Song or those other things, and then you throw those on as like the sprinkling and assorted after, it becomes a much different Cable story. It becomes like the lost son, and it's, for me, it changed the whole thing and allowed me to go back and really appreciate other cable work more, especially the the Cable and Baby Hope stuff, where he becomes a daddy and gets to kind of have that same relationship that his dad as Slim had with him in this book. And so what makes this special is that this, which is, let me do my credits here, written by Zach Thompson and Lonnie Nadler of Age of X-Men fame. Doesn't matter, there's shit everywhere. Art by the great Germán Peralta. And colors by Jesus Aburtov. And what this Cable story does, and which takes issues from the legacy numbering 155 through 159, so 5 issues, and it gives Cable a villain, and it ties it in. It gives Cable a villain from his youth, from the Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix time, that is chasing him through time, and it ties it into all these other eras. So you get a current, like, X-Men Rainbow, X-Men Gold era with, Hope kind of come in and deciding to stay at the school, grown-up Hope with guns, X-Force Hope, Kitty's the headmistress, and so forth. You get an issue that takes place right in 2009, right after X-Force number 16, and has, like, a 10, 11-year-old Hope with Daddy Cable being chased by one-armed bad guy Bishop through the future. You have an issue that takes place during 90s Cable, after issue 54, with Cable and who he refers to as his half-brother, the other Nathaniel, his AU self, Nate Gray, the X-Man. Right? You have... There's one more. My most absolute favorite, though, is you have ones that take place during the Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix. You have a whole issue, especially at the end, with so much here, where we're going back. We have some X-Force stuff, right, with all of our OG X-Men crew. Feral's back, because everyone missed her. We got some Deadpool in there. But we get OG Cyclops and Phoenix. We get Boy Cable with Slim and Red, pretending to not be his parents, having those conversations. The Jean and Scott. The mom and dad moments. We get all of it tied back in there. Scott and Jean being parents. 16 years of being parents. And bringing that all back, right, into how it shaped the way he is a parent to Hope. And it's just, this hits me in all my dad feels, right? As the father of 2 young boys who is blessed to be able to spend as much time as I do with them. The thought of Scott losing his son, the opportunity to regain it in any way, shape, form. I did not grow up with my father around. I saw him sometimes. We had different moments. It's something that we've worked on regaining over the years. But kind of knowing what that lost, needing to be regained father-son relationship is compared to one that's gets to be there and building them off of each other. Like, there's a lot of us who can relate to this. Like, this is your father-son emotional core strand that runs through. It's why, for a lot of us, like, the new Hickman X-Men #1 book, that is just like summer families. Like, it's going to have Corsair, and it's going to have Scott and Alex and Vulcan, and it's going to have Cable and Rachel and all. Like, just that's, like, we know, like, that's a dynamic that we crave, kind of seeing how they try to make it normal and right. Because there's a lot of us who have those fucked up, strange, weird family dynamics, and, like, we've been trying to make it normal and right for a while. And yeah, just fatherhood. Fatherhood books hit me right here. And this is a great one. So I would strongly recommend. This is still available to order. I didn't have a copy of the trade, so I went and told my local comic shop, like, you know what? I want a copy of the trade. I have these floppies, but I want it in the trade anyway. Go ahead and put that on order for me. And they got it in like a week and a half. Diamond's still shipping them out. It's in regular, easy order. So you tell your LCS, I want Cable, Volume 3, Past Fears by Thompson and Nadler. In about a week and a half, they'll have it in your sub box with your Dawn of X books. This is good X-Men stuff. This is my favorite type of post-Claremont X-Men stuff, where we have all these different eras, and we get a writer who appreciates them and can weave them together for that kind of cohesive history. You know, not grand design, but just like a single character. And here's, you know what? He is the Cable of the 90s, and he is the Cable of the Daddy and Cable and Hope, and he is the Cable of X-Force, and he is the Cable of Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix. And here's a story that makes all of that cohesive and real and hits you in the feels and tells a important X-Men story. So I would strongly recommend that. It is a great book. If you've been looking around, right, if you've followed our tweets and things this week, you've seen that for Thanksgiving week, I made a commitment. I made a goal to you and to me and to you to get content out there every day, and I managed to do it. This is day 5 of 5. On Monday, put a recap of Gen X 44 on the website. If you haven't checked it out now. On Tuesday, Gen X 45, my first back-to-back. It's on there. Check it out now. On Wednesday, a great creator-owned Optic at OPTYCK, my friend Rosie on Twitter and on Patreon, showing you off her custom pins. There's a link to her websites. You can check that out. That's on the blog. Thursday, I did Wolverine Volume 5, Number 8, the first of Paul Cornell's Killable. Got a recap for that. And today, this video you're watching right here. Cable Volume 3, Past Fears. So that is all for today. Keep coming back next week. Keep looking for more recaps and videos. If you have fan, creator-made apparel, memorabilia, things that you want me to spotlight, send me a tweet, send me a message. Go to the homepage of this website. You can drop me a line, let me know. I would love to spotlight it. If you have a book that you want me to do a recap video or a review video or a recap issue of, let me know. I would love to do what you want to read, what you want to see and watch. Yeah. So, we're at the 13-minute and 4-second mark, so that is it for us today. Have yourself a great holiday weekend and wake up, because you're asleep at the wheel.